Hello, my name is Jane Rylett. I'm the Scientific Director of the CHR Institute of Aging. I'd like to take the next few minutes to tell you about the CHR Dementia Research Strategy. Let's begin by looking at the Canadian Institutes of Health Research. CHR is one of the Government of Canada research funding agencies, along with NSERC and SSHRC. We work within the health portfolio of the federal government with our colleagues at Health Canada, the Public Health Agency of Canada, and the Canadian Foundation for Healthcare Improvement. CHR is comprised of 13 virtual institutes, and the names of these can be seen in the color wheel on the right-hand side of this slide. This is a unique model for health research. CHR institutes share responsibility to fulfill the mandate of health research needs in Canada. Each institute supports a broad spectrum of research within its topic mandate area, and this is done in consultation with our stakeholders. Set priorities for health research within our mandate areas, and reflect on the emerging health needs of Canadians. The model enables optimal use of existing knowledge to fill research gaps, to address emerging health needs, to maximize cooperation, and to build capacity to support existing researchers and build the next generation of researchers. Each institute is provided with an annual budget that we can use to support priority initiatives and to engage partnerships. The Dementia Research Strategy is a collaborative effort to advance research and innovation in dementia. There are two objectives. The first is to support excellence in research in dementia in Canada, and this is the national component, and to enable Canadian participation and leadership in international initiatives in dementia research, and this is the international component. Collaboration is obviously a key to success of the Dementia Research Strategy. This includes collaboration between CHR institutes, collaboration with partners at both the national and the international levels, and the logos of a number of these partners can be seen on the right-hand side of this slide. Partnerships are always welcome, and we're always looking for new partners to engage in all aspects and the initiatives of the dementia. For the remainder of this presentation, I would like to focus on key highlights of the Dementia Research Strategy. And this includes the national and international components and the collaborations involved, our role as a convener and catalyst and leader in dementia research, and capacity building. As I mentioned, the Dementia Research Strategy is made up of two parts. The national component, which is comprised of the Canadian Consortium on Neurodegeneration and Aging, or CCNA, and the new directions in dementia research. The international component is comprised of 3 different international partnerships. Let's look first at the CCNA. CCNA was created and first funded in 2014, with funding renewed in 2019, extending till 2024. The funding for these 2 phases comes from CHR and a variety of partner organizations. The research strategy is to accelerate discovery, innovation, and adoption of new knowledge across 3 themes: prevention, treatment, and management of neurodegenerative diseases of aging. The goal is to improve the quality of life of individual Canadians living with these disorders and their caregivers. The infographic, which is shown on the right-hand side of this slide, displays the 3 themes, the 19 teams that are encompassed within these 3 themes, and over 300 researchers across the country that participate in this research. This research is supported by a number of platforms and cross-cutting themes that are also shown in the infographic. The infographic on the left of this slide shows activities of CCNA researchers summarized in several areas. It also displays the value added to the dementia research community through this consortium. This includes creation and availability of infrastructure, synergy and team building to promote research collaborations, including networking for early career researchers and trainees, convening research meetings and workshops, and knowledge exchange with the public, including educational outreach activities. Let's turn now to the new directions in dementia research. The first of these is the Wilfred and Joyce Poslin Chair in Women's Brain Health and Aging. For this, we've partnered with other CIHR institutes and the Poslin Family Foundation, the Alzheimer's Society of Canada, and Ontario Brain Institute. This chair was awarded to Dr. Gillian Einstein at the University of Toronto in 2017 and is focused obviously on women's brain health and aging. In particular, cognitive aging and disorders associated with that, and to build capacity in research in brain health and aging, and take into account sex and gender. An important component of this is translation of the research. This is then directed towards wellness in brain aging. The second of these four components is big data on dementia. For this, we've partnered with the Institute of Neuroscience, Mental Health, and Addiction, and this was awarded as a team grant entitled Broad and Deep Analysis in Neurodegeneration, or BRAIN. This supports a single pan-Canadian team to generate, optimize, use, share, and connect data generated at both the national and international level, and allows Canadian researchers to be able to use data at both the broad and the deep level to look at biomarkers and to associate this big data towards looking at underpinnings of the pathophysiology of dementia. The third of these four new dimensions in dementia research involved 4 grants awarded to the area of social inclusion of individuals with dementia and their caregivers. We partnered on this important initiative with the Alzheimer's Society of Canada. Funding in this area supports intervention and programs aimed at reducing stigma associated with dementia, and increases awareness and inclusion of persons with dementia and their caregivers as full members of their communities. The fourth and final area in the new dimensions in dementia research involves 2 grants awarded to Challenge of Dementia in Indigenous Populations. For this, we partnered with the CIHR Institute of Indigenous Peoples' Health, and funding supported research in dementia care that uses community-based participatory methods with rural and urban Indigenous populations. Funding is also used to build capacity among Indigenous scholars and students in dementia research. I would like to move now to the international component and focus on our global collaborations as part of the dementia research strategy. The first of these is the European Union Joint Program in Neurodegenerative Diseases Research, or JPND. This is the largest global research initiative aimed at tackling the challenge of neurodegenerative diseases. The CIHR Institute of Aging was mandated by the Minister of Health to represent Canada in this initiative in 2012, and since then has served as a full voting member along with a consortium of 30 member countries that represent their government funding agencies to promote initiatives and funding opportunities related to dementia research. As you can see on this slide, we've participated in 5 funding opportunities or calls and invested approximately $4 million to fund the Canadian component of 10 multinational research teams. As you can see on this slide also, the funding opportunities have covered a range of different topics related to research in neurodegenerative diseases and research. We are always looking for partners to join with us to help fund Canadian researchers in the JPND initiative. The second international initiative is the Centers of Excellence in Neurodegeneration, or COIN. The aim of the COIN initiatives is to build collaboration and research in activities associated with neurodegenerative diseases and dementia across borders, across countries, and focusing on building critical mass and promoting excellence in research. These funding opportunities are called the Pathway Grants, and they're offered every second year. Importantly, there are 8 countries involved in this, and for each country, the researchers involved would be within pre-identified centers of excellence. In terms of Canada, CCNA is identified as the Center of Excellence for Cohen funding opportunities, which means that CCNA investigators are able to submit proposals to Cohen funding opportunities. The third international initiative is ADNI, Alzheimer's Disease Neuroimaging Initiative. ADNI is a longitudinal multi-center study designed to develop clinical, imaging, genetic, and biochemical biomarkers for early detection and tracking of Alzheimer's disease. Since 2004, there have been 4 Canadian ADNI centers that have been active, including in Vancouver, London, Toronto, and Montreal. And it's important to note that in 2017, CIHR funded a coordinated and centralized brain donation and brain banking system to optimize Canada's participation in the Phase 3 of the ADNI initiative. I'd like to move now to our role as convener, catalyst, and leader within dementia research. I'd like to look first at our convener and catalyst role. For this, the CIHR Institute of Aging comes together with various Canadian partner organizations to lead the Canadian Pavilion at international dementia conferences. This is an outstanding opportunity to be able to increase awareness and visibility of Canada at these international conferences, to display research achievements, highlight leading researchers and key stakeholder organizations, including research institutions. This serves as a hub for researchers, both nationally and internationally, to meet, to collaborate, and to build partnerships. This is combined with a networking event, which is hosted by the CIHR Institute of Aging and partners for both Canadian participants and international participants. The next slide actually shows one of these Canadian pavilions. This happened to be at the international conference, the AAIC conference in 2016. And what you can see here are a number of desks where Canadian research partners in dementia research can meet and can discuss their opportunities with both Canadian and international researchers that come to the pavilion. And you can see the number of Canadian flags. It was quite a show to be able to see this at an international meeting. In addition to this sort of convener role, we also serve as a collaborator on a number of very important leadership initiatives in the area of dementia research. This slide shows the CIHR contribution to the World Health Organization research prioritization exercise, which took place in 2015. And there was an important manuscript published in the Lancet Neurology at that time about research priorities developed and identified to reduce the global burden of dementia by the year 2025. And you can see that amongst the co-authors of this manuscript is Yves Joannette, who is the previous scientific director of the CIHR Institute of Aging. In addition to this leadership role on the international stage, the CIHR Institute of Aging was very actively involved in the Dementia Research Summit hosted by the G8 in 2013. And this brought together a wide range of individuals and stakeholders, including ministries, researchers, pharmaceutical companies, and charities, to discuss what could be done to stimulate greater investment and innovation in dementia research and to improve prevention and treatment for dementia. Canada and the CIHR Institute of Aging were active participants at the summit, and indeed Canada and France hosted a global dementia legacy event at that time, bringing together about 200 industry leaders, academics, and policymakers from across Canada and around the world to discuss topics related to identification and treatment of dementia. And finally, I'd like to come to capacity building and dementia research. The CIHR Institute of Aging is very proud to host the summer program in aging each year. This is a flagship training program put forward by our institute. And each year we bring together about 40 Canadian and 10 international trainees from across disciplines to meet together for about a week and to be able to meet with mentors to discuss topics from participation in research and professionalism to topics on specific areas of research relevant to the Institute of Aging. So, for example, in 2021, the topic will be longitudinal studies, and this will be hosted by researchers from the Canadian Longitudinal Study on Aging. And importantly, in relation to this presentation, in 2022, the topic will be dementia, and this will be hosted by researchers from the CCNA. Since 2006, we've had over 500 participants at our summer program in aging, and it's really important now that some of our early participants have now gone on to become researchers in aging within the Canadian community, and they are in fact sending their own students now to the summer program in aging. And finally, I'd like to just identify a few other areas that we engage in to promote training for the next generation of dementia researchers. In one area, we engage at a number of conferences related to dementia research. We support the travel of trainees to these conferences, and we also hold competitions for best posters and provide awards to trainees in relation to their posters. We also have a training component associated with each of our large strategic initiatives on dementia. This includes the CCNA, and it includes supporting a postdoctoral fellow position coupled with the Paulson's Chair in Women's Brain Health and Aging. I would like to talk to you now about next steps. We're involved in consultations on the development of future priorities for the CIHR Dementia Research Strategy, and I'd like to invite you to join the conversation during your Key Informant interview.